With nearly identical hardware and software to the Galaxy S9 series, the new Galaxy Note 9 isn't a half-yearly refresh like so many other Android manufacturers push out. Instead, Samsung is leaning heavily on the S Pen. This accessory has become slimmer and has gained new functions over the years, but now it has a whole new set of capabilities. Does the S Pen really elevate Samsung to a place where its Android competitors cannot reach? That's the answer we're looking for in this review. While the overall look of this phone is slick, it isn't cutting edge anymore. The Galaxy Note 9 is a really big phone, and despite Samsung's best efforts, it's very unwieldy. Thankfully, the glass back isn't slippery at all, because you'll have to keep shifting your grip on it to reach all corners of the screen, even when using both hands. It weighs 201 grams and you'll definitely feel it. Samsung's design and manufacturing capabilities are highly refined now, and this phone feels incredibly well crafted. The glass front and back and the metal rims seem to flow into each other perfectly. The only real downside in terms of design is that there's nothing new compared to the Galaxy Note 8 or, for that matter, the Galaxy S9 series. The screen has grown to 6.4 inches from 6.3 on the Galaxy Note 8. The curved edges are still extremely reflective, which is distracting when watching videos and tends to obscure display elements such as the status bar in PUBG. In all other respects though, this is an excellent screen. Samsung's own Super AMOLED panel is bright, crisp and punchy. It has a resolution of 1440 by 2960, which makes for a pixel density of 516 ppi. You can choose to reduce the resolution in software to save power or improve game performance if needed. The panel is capable of HDR10 video playback in apps that support it. There's also Samsung's trademark always-on feature that shows the time and notification icons dimly when the phone is in standby. With the Galaxy Note 9, Samsung is turning the S Pen into a style statement. The ocean blue variant, which we're testing, has a bright yellow S Pen with a gold end cap for no reason other than to draw attention. We found that we had to use a fingernail to push the clasp that releases the S Pen from its silo. Thankfully, it can't go back in the wrong way this time, so you won't inadvertently damage your phone. One big change compared to last year's Galaxy Note 8 is that the fingerprint sensor on the rear has been moved into a central position. Because of the sheer size of this phone, it's still somewhat out of reach. The heart rate and oxygen saturation sensors are still to one side of the cameras, and it would be easy to forget that they're even there. Another little annoyance is the Bixby button, which is right where you'd expect the volume buttons to be. We wound up pressing it by accident all the time. Most people will be very happy to note that Samsung has not dropped the 3.5mm headphone socket. There are times when it makes sense to reject trends, and this is one of them. The Galaxy Note 9 still has an IP68 rating for water and dust resistance. It's powered by Samsung's own Exynos 9810 SoC, which is still fairly powerful. However, we found in our tests of the Galaxy S9 and several Snapdragon 845 powered phones over the course of this year that Qualcomm's offering has an advantage in many benchmarks. You can choose between two variants of this phone. The base variant now has 128GB of storage and 6GB of RAM, and there's also an option of 512GB of storage with 8GB of RAM. In India, the Galaxy Note 9 has a hybrid dual SIM design, so if you don't need a second SIM, you can use a micro SD card for more storage. The USB Type-C port actually works at USB 3.1 speed. One of Samsung's neatest tricks is the ability to plug in a monitor using a single USB Type-C to HDMI cable, effectively turning your phone into a desktop PC. Unfortunately, Samsung hasn't sent us this accessory in time for our review, so we haven't been able to test this functionality. Above the screen is an iris scanner which promises far more reliable biometric authentication than simple face recognition. You can also turn on Samsung's intelligent scan option, which uses both iris and face recognition together. Recognition was a little slow in our experiences over several days, delaying each unlock by 1 or 2 seconds depending on available light. Our review unit was running Android 8.1 Oreo. Samsung hasn't commented on when it will release an Android Pie update, but we'd expect that to take time considering how heavily customized the Samsung Experience 9.5 UI is. The S Pen has had its biggest reinvention in many years and now features Bluetooth LE connectivity, which turns it into a remote control for the phone. There's only one button, so you're limited to single and double clicks. The most useful application of this is the ability to remotely set off the camera shutter. You can also use the S Pen to advance slides in a PowerPoint presentation, scroll through photos in your gallery, and play or pause media files. Third-party apps will soon be able to configure custom S Pen button actions. The S Pen's minuscule battery will last you only about 30 minutes, but on the upside, it takes only 40 seconds to charge fully when you pop it back into its silo. That means it's ready to go every time you take it out. One advantage of the Bluetooth connectivity is that you'll get an alert on screen if you've left your S Pen behind somewhere. The S Pen's functionality has been integrated very smoothly into the UI as well as native apps. For example, if you tap any text field with your finger, you'll see the usual Samsung keyboard. But if you tap it with the S Pen, you'll see a handwriting pad instead. You can just write naturally and the Note 9 converts your handwriting to text. The Galaxy Note 9 has surprisingly loud and powerful stereo speakers. There's one on the bottom and the earpiece doubles up as the second. The stereo effect isn't perfect, but all our music, games and videos sounded rich and voices were crisp and clear without any distortion. Samsung says it has used a unique water carbon cooling system to diffuse heat. We found that playing games and recording videos did cause our review unit to get a bit warm, but we were able to get through 2 rounds of PUBG without feeling too uncomfortable. Speaking of gaming, we're happy to report positive experiences with both PUBG and Fortnite. We were able to run both games at high quality and gameplay was completely smooth with no stuttering or lag at any point. The brand new Asphalt 9 Legends looked gorgeous with buttery smooth graphics even using the high quality setting. As for our standard benchmarks, the Galaxy Note 9's performance was on par with its Galaxy S9 siblings. A lot of this phone's weight can be attributed to its 4000 mAh battery, which lives up to Samsung's all-day claim and then some. We took our review unit off its charger at 9 AM, and after a day of heavy usage, we still had 25% left at midnight. Our HD video loop test ran for an incredible 17 hours and 50 minutes. With relatively conservative usage, we could see people only needing to charge this phone every other day. Wireless charging and quick charging are also both available. The Galaxy Note 9 has exactly the same rear camera configuration as on the Galaxy S9 Plus, including Samsung's much-hyped variable aperture on the primary camera. Other features of the primary rear camera include a 1.4 micrometer pixel size, dual-pixel PDAF, and optical image stabilization. Interestingly, the secondary camera has a 2x optical zoom lens, but also has a matching 12 megapixel sensor and OIS. The secondary camera doesn't have a variable aperture and makes do with smaller 1 micrometer pixels. Samsung's camera app is thankfully restrained in terms of UI bloat. You still get dedicated top-level modes for live focus, panoramas, AR emojis, hyperlapse video, and super slow-mo video. We also quite liked the ability to record bursts or GIF videos just by long pressing the shutter button. Manufacturers are racing to add AI enhancements into their camera apps, and Samsung's effort is called Bixby Vision. It has modes for recognizing landmarks, food, wine bottle labels, objects, and text. Most of the time it worked well, but object recognition in particular was sometimes hilariously wrong. The Galaxy Note 9 also lets you create an AR emoji character using a model of your face. You'll then find a few dozen animated stickers featuring yourself in the Samsung keyboard's sticker chooser. The Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus earned very high scores from us for their photo quality, and the Galaxy Note 9 is no different. We were able to take shots with extraordinary detail and vibrant colors. In the daytime, this phone was always quick to lock focus. Close-ups looked the best, but even in wide shots, distant objects were reproduced well. The shots we took at night came out looking very bright with a surprising level of clarity. However, we did see signs of aggressive software sharpening and a loss of fine detail when zooming into 100%. You can record up to 10 minutes of 4K 30fps video at a stretch, or 5 minutes if you choose 60fps. This is a limit that we'd like to see lifted, but video quality is just as good as it is for photos. The super slow-mo mode lets you start recording at normal speed, and motion within a set area of the viewfinder will kick off about 1 second's worth of 960fps recording at 720p. Sadly, clips end abruptly very shortly after the burst. The quality isn't great and the mode requires a lot of light, so it's nearly impossible to use at night. The 8-megapixel front camera features autofocus, an f1.7 aperture, and 1.22 micrometer pixels. Video recording can go up to 2560 by 1440. The quality of stills and videos is very good. Beautification is on by default, but thankfully it isn't too aggressive. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 is a brilliant smartphone with a lot of top-end features. It could easily be the number one choice for people who are willing to spend as much as it takes to have the latest and greatest capabilities. However, it isn't very significantly differentiated from the Galaxy S series anymore. In fact, the 128GB version of the Galaxy Note 9 costs exactly as much as the 128GB Galaxy S9 Plus. The experiences you get will be nearly identical, so the choice really comes down to having the S Pen versus having a slightly more portable device. If you already own a Galaxy S8 or Note 8, there's practically no reason to upgrade. You might also not see the point in spending so much money on a smartphone when options like the OnePlus 6, Asus Zenfone 5Z and the recently announced Poco F1 offer relatively comparable features, specifications and camera performance at half the price or less. The differentiator is the S Pen and Samsung's completely seamless Android integration, which are unique to the Galaxy Note. It's no wonder that Samsung has concentrated on this and given the S Pen more functionality than ever this year. We're not considering this a phone designed purely for productivity because Samsung isn't differentiating it as such anymore. That said, if you're a power user who really wants to get a lot of work done, this phone will definitely suit your purposes. In a world full of nearly identical smartphones, the Galaxy Note 9 with its S Pen does stand out, and while it is expensive, you do get what you pay for. Thanks for watching our review, and for more videos and reviews like this, do visit us at gadgets360.com.